Have you ever made a mistake? I mean, a really big one? One you just wish you could undo to save something or someone you really care about? Well, believe it or not, about 400 years ago, William Shakespeare wrote a poem that feels like it could have been written this morning. This isn't just some stuffy old piece of literature. No, it's a raw, incredibly human story about messing up, realizing what's at stake, and fighting like hell for a second chance. So let's dive into this journey of redemption. Right out of the gate, the poem hits you with this line. Alas, 'tis true. There's no hiding, no excuses, nothing. It's just, bam, an immediate confession that drops us right into the middle of a huge personal crisis. You can almost feel the weight of that admission, you know? The speaker isn't easing us into the story. They're laying it all out on the table from the very first breath. So this first part of the sonnet is basically a full-blown, brutally honest confession. The speaker is just laying bare all of their screw-ups. And this line, this is where the imagery gets really interesting. Think about someone today, maybe chasing likes online, acting like a clown for some shallow attention, and just sort of cheapening themselves in public. That's pretty much the modern version of what he's saying here. He's admitting, I made myself a complete fool for everyone to see, and you can just feel the shame radiating off the page. Now that word motley is so important here. A motley wasn't just a silly outfit. It was the actual uniform of a professional jester. Someone literally paid to be a fool. So by using this word, the speaker is saying they didn't just act foolishly, they became the fool. They traded their own dignity for what? Cheap thrills? Fleeting approval? It's just this powerful statement of total self-degradation. And oh, the confession does not stop there. Not at all. He goes on to say he's gored mine own thoughts, basically wounded his own soul, his integrity. He's sold cheap what is most dear, devaluing the one relationship that actually mattered. And he's made old offenses of affections new, which is a poetic way of saying he betrayed trust with a bunch of meaningless new flings. I mean, it is a complete and total admission of guilt. Okay, but then the poem takes this absolutely wild turn. After this gut-wrenching, honest confession, you'd think there'd be more groveling, right? Nope. Instead, the speaker pivots to this very strange, kind of complex justification, basically arguing that all these mistakes, well, they were actually a good thing. And this right here is the pivot point. A blench is a stumble, a swerve, a turning away from the right path. And the speaker swears by all above, by heaven itself, that these very mistakes, these affairs, and all that foolishness have somehow, paradoxically, given their heart a new life. I mean, what an audacious thing to claim. And here you can see the poem's central paradox laid out perfectly. On the one side, you have the worse essays, all the trials, the experiments with other people, looking at what's true askance and strangely. But on the other side, you see the result of all that. Those very mistakes ultimately proved to be my best of love. He's basically arguing, look, I had to see what else was out there to finally realize that you and you've always been the absolute best. And once that case has been made, the whole tone of the poem just shifts on a dime. The clever justification is done. Now comes the fire, the passionate, unbreakable promise. This is the emotional climax, a vow of total commitment forever. I just love the power in this line. Now all is done. It's so final, so absolute. That period of wandering, of experimenting, of being a fool, it's over, done. And what's left? A love that shall have no end. The speaker is declaring that the time for games is finished, and what remains is something real and eternal. And if you thought that was intense, check this out. The beloved is no longer just a person. They are now a God in love. This just elevates their relationship to this whole other divine level. And notice that word confined. He's not just choosing to stay, he feels bound to this person, destined, almost joyfully imprisoned by this love. It's like there's literally nowhere else in the universe for him to go. So, after the confession, the wild justification, and that epic vow, there's only one thing left to do. The speaker has poured out his entire soul, and now he has to ask to be let back in. And the final plea is just so beautiful in how simple and vulnerable it is. First, the direct request. Then, give me welcome.
Then he describes what that welcome means. It's next my heaven the best, placing his lover's embrace right up there, just below salvation itself. And finally, the destination he's hoping for, even to thy pure and most loving breast, a place of purity, a place of complete love. It's just a humble, powerful, heartfelt plea to come home.
So what we've really just walked through is this complete emotional journey. It takes us from the absolute depths of shame and public foolishness, winds through this really complex justification, builds to a powerful vow, and then lands on this incredibly vulnerable plea. The whole poem really is about learning the hard way just how precious true love actually is. And all of that leaves us with this one big thought. The speaker in this 400-year-old poem is totally convinced that his wandering proved the value of coming home. But is that really how it works? Can straying from something good genuinely make you appreciate it more? Or does it just cause damage that you can never fully repair? It's a timeless question, and it's right at the heart of this very, very human poem.